if you are watching this, just know if you see this movie, you are an accessory to a crime. My name is Rick Klingman. I am an attorney and a political consultant. Some people might say, oh, that guy is a con artist.
I know you guys.
Or a fraud, or a dirty trickster, or he can't name all three branches of government. And they're wrong. I am simply a truth provider.
Tell me about the decision to make this mockumentary for Maximum Truth.
Well, you know, Dave and I have been working together. We've known each other for like almost 40 years. Like we've been like best friends since we were, you know, little boys. And we've always made each other laugh. And I think as we've gotten older, we've always like thought like kind of like, for lack of a better word, like we're very entertained by losers. You know what I mean? Like we love those kind of characters, kind of desperate characters who are very confident, but also kind of dumb. And, you know, Dave, basically for the last like 8 or 9 years, we have been obsessed with the kind of emergence of grifters, right? All these different kinds of people who are just trying to make money off of people. And that kind of has been coinciding with the erosion of shame in this country, right? We used to have shame. You used to do something really embarrassing and you would be shamed and you'd be like, all right, I'm sorry. Now people are just like, the worse you are, the better. The worse you are, the easier it is to make money, to make a brand, to get clout. And so we're looking at all these different kind of characters in this, you know, and whatever world you live in, whether it's, you know, politics or health and wellness, there's all these different kinds of people who are looking just to kind of jump on you and make money. And as we started thinking of all these figures, we're like, okay, we just should tell a story about two guys, an older guy and a younger guy. And I said to Dave, cool, I'll be the younger guy. He said, nope, you'll be the older guy. You know, actually our friend Seth Meyers last night, he goes, I got to tell you, it is depressing to see you as the old guy in the movie now and not the young dude. But we were like, let's just start talking about like a story about these two guys spinning like whirling dervishes of misinformation. And so we just started kind of just spending, a week or two, like really talking through what this could be. And we knew right away that we were laughing so hard at some of these situations that we were kind of coming up with. We were like, okay, this is going to work. Let's just try to make this as like, let's just ride this momentum right now. You know what I mean? Let's write this thing. Send it to QC, who did Get Out and did The Oath. And they were like, good, you guys have a hot hand. Go, go, go. So we just like went and shot it and made it, and here we are.
Well, it's very grassroots and it's very simply done, but it's dealing with these really kind of heavy themes. And there are people in it where it's easy to kind of dismiss them like, oh, that's just a caricature, that's just an archetype. But you're like, oh, I know people like that. Tell me, David, when you were kind of going into it, what was your original kind of goal to kind of for who to portray within the film?
Well, I think, I love that word you used, grassroots, because I feel like that was, I was very dead set, like, because I wanted it to feel like a real documentary and that this was all like really happening and that, this is Rick's life. So like, maybe like, like the room's not going to be decorated great, even though we're bringing a camera in, or, there's not going to be perfect light on the character. Like this is a documentary. This is what it would be like. This guy's letting us into his world. And then in terms of the characters, they're just, there's just funny people out there in the real world, right? Like there's, people that do, walk around college campuses with machine guns to show off their whatever their feelings about the Second Amendment. And there are people that sell, like gigantic buckets of gruel, for the apocalypse, and you have to, pay $250 for it. Or, these people are out there trying to, make some money, off of really, not very good faith ideas. And then, then Ike and I are just naturally just lean towards the comedy. So it's like, let's not be preachy. Let's just go like, these are big funny characters. Let's just have every scene sort of hopefully pop, and like now you're meeting someone new, and now this person's got a crazy idea. Now this person has a crazy point of view. So that was kind of some of the thinking going into the movie.
Well, Rick Klingman, I could probably do a TED talk on Rick Klingman, much less listen to one. But it's funny because it speaks as desperation, and whether it's the desperation for money,
such a good word,
desperation for attention, etc.
Yes.
But Rick has this really intoxicating mixture of being deeply closeted, deeply loathing, but overly confident. It's like, how does this mix together? When you were kind of putting together Rick, where were those boundaries?
We wanted, we knew that, like, desperate is the perfect word to encapsulate Rick and a lot of the people in this movie. And so much so that I do like to think that, like, if you were to dig into the deep recesses of his heart, you would find like a nice guy. You know what I mean? A guy who generally is agreeable, but the tragedy in this guy is that he's compromised everything. He's compromised, any kindness he really has. He's compromised who he probably is. He's, we always said he's, is he closeted? He's maybe had a girlfriend in his life. Now at this point, he's probably more interested in men. Sometimes he's probably ace in his life and is not doing anything, but he can't come out and be like, this is who I am, because he might need money from someone who doesn't agree with that. So he's trapped in this world that he has kind of decided to live in. Mm-hmm. And so, again, we're not trying to like make people think too much. We're not giving you homework. We want you to watch this movie and just like laugh your butt off. But there is, I think, some complexity to Rick. It's not just like, oh yeah, this guy's a stupid piece of shit. But like, there is this kind of this inside, this sadness to him. And we find, I think, a couple of these moments, throughout. There's this moment with Brianna Baker, who plays our kind of hero journalist, who is like, you don't have to do this, man. Like, you could just go and just be a regular person. And I think in our society, we've kind of been like, I can't be a regular person. I have to be special. And it's like, you already are. You probably already are special. Mm-hmm. Like, you're conflating being special with being famous. And that is a bad way to look at it. And
successful.
Or successful, and what does that even mean? What is successful? So I think that we wanted him to be a little bit deeper than just kind of a bumbling oaf. We wanted to kind of show the contradictions that lay within him.
Well, it's fun. I'm so glad you brought up Brianna Baker. She is fabulous. I love her.
Love her.
I think the last time I saw her was like House of Pies. And I know she's been on 911 doing her thing.
Yes.
Pies, I'm live.
House of Pies would be also a great show.
With lawyers? Yeah, amazing. I
would love that.
But she does kind of, she represents this background for Rick. And he kind of keeps her in his life, and he says, oh, it's because she has this position and it's for the source. But it kind of feels like there's something more there in terms of having some connection to an accountability. Would you agree with that, David, or is there something else to that?
Such a great observation. Yeah, I think that there's a realness in their relationship that Rick maybe doesn't have with anyone else. And it's kind of like, you got a friend, I have a friend or two that I don't talk to very much, but when you talk to them, there's like a deep connection. And I think that she's amused by him. She's been amused by his antics over the years. And he, meanwhile, can be a little more, obviously, like in one of the last scenes of the movie, he's a little more open with her. But ultimately, as Ike was saying, like, Rick's made his choices in life. Like, the train, he's a likable guy now on a train that has left the station, and he's surrounded himself with a bunch of monsters and ghouls on the train, and he has to make it work because he's on the train. The train's moving, and Brianna's in that little sidecar pushing the thing for a second, and he almost jumps on with her, but then he doesn't because you know his white whale shows up for the press conference, and he thinks it's going to be, you know, I think everything's going to be fine.
Yeah. As soon as she showed up, I was like,
yeah.
Very excited. You know, we got to talk about the Dylan O'Brien of it all, the Simon Tarnan. That man is messy. It was so funny because by the end, well, first of all, I was already pinged when they used to call me Faye Boy on the cruise, but it was because I love the buffet. We're like, like, okay, so, and then when Marco showed up, I was like, oh, it's clearly like their boyfriends, and I was like, but does Rick know their boyfriends? And
yeah, we are always like, they are like, their relationship is so crazy. Like, there's probably times where Rick, it's exactly what you said. Rick is like, that's not my boyfriend. That's my roommate. And like once a month we get drunk and wrestle, but like we're not in love. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like he has to create these narratives to give himself permission. You know what I mean? And that's definitely what we were definitely going for.
Yeah, well, you see, then Simon kind of thrust into this.
Yes.
And Simon is his own beast. And trying to do the shred it with the single D and everything.
Oh my God.
There is, what does Simon kind of represent to Rick? Is it just kind of something unattainable, like, oh, this is the perfect specimen, or this is what I could have been? You know, what is it that they kind of relate to each other?
I think that's really a big part of it is he looks at him and is like, God, if I was 20 years younger and was super good looking, I would be just like him. You know, when we started writing the movie, like, I was like, hey, we should think of Dylan O'Brien for this, just because I was a fan of him, but then I was like, his face just feels like it could put it in one of these like young Zoomer, you know, crazy reactionary kids, and the way we kind of wrote the character was a little bit different than the way he started playing it, but the way he started playing it was so like broful and like kind of just vapid. We were like, this is funnier. And so I think, yeah, Rick looks at him with like, it's like this mix of like love, you know what I mean? Jealousy. Like Rick knows that like, this is not a guy that like, you know, has to sleep with a CPAP machine. You know what I mean? Rick knows, he's aware of his own mortality. And I think the fact that they're just like, they're two people who are always yes-anding each other. You know what I mean? They're all they both like whatever, how dumb the idea is, the other one is never going to be like, hey, that's really stupid and you're bad for thinking that. They're going to be like, yes, and ooh, we could stop at a great little taco place on the way. Like, it's just like, it's companionship, it's friendship. You know what I mean? It's just like, I think we are living in this era of loneliness a little bit. And even though he has this roommate, which is a complex relationship that he can't himself process, he knows that this is a young, exciting guy who's on the same team with him politically and wants to work with him. And it's very online and like, oh, maybe he can tag me in some of his videos and then I will get more followers. Like, it's just that whole infrastructure collapsing on itself.
Multiple Facebook accounts, which is what I want to ask you, David, how many different identities do you think Simon has?
Oh, I think he's got at least 7, basically. Right. And like a couple of them are like first name Simon, then different last names. Some of them are just like, you know, like Ukrainian names that he stole off the internet.
I feel like Simon will post on Instagram like, hey, use promo code shredded and get 30% off our new flavor. And then he will create accounts to reply to that being like, this is great. I live in Yugoslavia and I love shredded. Like, he creates his own accounts to interact with himself.
Yeah. That sounds amazing.
Yes.
You guys, I could talk with you another 40 minutes. I want to know about Seth Rogen's rant and how true to life it was. I want to know about everything. But people will have to see it, and I can't wait for them to see it. It is such a fun time. I cannot deal with like secondhand embarrassment, and so for the whole thing, I was like, no. But
yeah.
I was like, okay, we're gonna get through this, Rick. We're gonna get through this.
Oh my God.
So fun. So thank
Yeah,
you.
like, yeah, you just had so many great observations.
Yeah, truly.
So cool to hear your thoughts on it.
And
I
we
really
have not talked to, we feel like you're like the third or fourth person we've talked to outside friends and family that have seen this movie. So to hear feedback is like
Yay,
wonderful
good
and
deal.
great. So thank you so
Mhm.
much for talking to us. Really appreciate it.
I'm looking forward to everyone seeing it. Thank you so much again, and yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk to you
Yes,
soon.
thank you.
The more I think about it and talk about it, I start to believe their truth.
What is wrong with you?
Then it becomes the truth.